do an introduction to the program. Welcome to New Realities. I'm Alan Steinfeld, and I'm back here with Sheila Seppi, and this is another promotion for the upcoming Angelic upcoming walk-in conference with an Angelic walk-in guest. But Sheila, why don't you go over what the conference is going to be and how people can register, okay?
Absolutely. Let me go ahead and start sharing my screen. So we're really excited that this is the second annual walk-in conference in partnership with Portal to Ascension and New Realities. This year, we have a phenomenal lineup for you. Last week, we interviewed Nicholas David Nann, and Nicholas shared his information that he brought through and his mission of doing some soul work. We also have Diva Grace. I'm going to skip that next photo because we actually have that guest here. We have Karen Swain, Zoe Pennant, Jaden Fox, William Linville, James Fairley, Stephanie Lodge, and Jason Ames. And again, this is on January the 8th and the 9th. You can register at Portal to Ascension. You can also go to our website at wishalliance.org. Click the little blue button on register here. You can watch some of the links that we have, some of the promotions about the walk-in conference, and today's promotion is obviously on New Realities on YouTube, and you can go there to rewatch this. So please share it with your friends. And today we're so excited because we have Claire Candy Hough with us. And Claire is a walk-in, but she's not just any walk-in. She actually is housing or serving to provide the form for Angel Ariel. And so I'm really excited to hear what's.
Unshare your screen so we
Absolutely.
And I also want to say this is one of a kind conference. No one else is doing this sort of conglomeration of new consciousness that is coming to the earth. And this is why it's so, I think, important. And the subtitle for your book, Sheila, was Cosmology of the Soul. And this is what we're trying to understand, the greater cosmology of spiritual awareness, spiritual intelligence, spiritual messaging to the world now. And that's why it's really great we have Claire Candy with us today. So go ahead, you take over and go for it.
Okay, so, right now it's so important at this time to be on the planet. And we do have walk-ins coming in. We have starseeds awakening. We have hybrids who are coming, all to assist in raising and elevating the frequency of the planet so that we can move into a higher dimensional consciousness. And so today, Clara, I'd like for you to share your story, how this all came about for you, and tell us a little bit about your mission here and what you think about all of these new waves of energy that are coming upon the planet.
Well, thank you. And first of all, thank you for offering this platform. It's just wonderful, Sheila. It's going to open up so many people's consciousness as to what is possible and what is changing on the planet. My journey started because of a former student of mine. Angel Ariel, walked into this body on January 11th of 2003. Before that, this body, or the soul, the former soul of Claire Candy, was traumatized. She was suicidal. She was anorexic. In the conversations I've had with her, the third suicide attempt would have been the charm. She was in a 26-year abusive marriage. She basically lost her light and could not find it anymore, and asked continually to be allowed to cross over. She couldn't do that on a conscious level, as she was flying a plane below the fog and very dark and traumatized and very desperate. And during a very deep meditation, I walked into her body and she walked out. Now, I have read your beautiful book, and this was a case of a complete walk-in. She walked out and I walked in. And I often say that we as walk-ins, I, meaning I, Angel Ariel, who am in this body now, I often say we don't come in with a handbook tied around our toe. So, for the newly arrived. So we're a little bit dazed and confused in a while. And certainly back almost 20 years ago, when I come from the 12th dimension and is slammed into a third dimensional reality back then, there was no, hovering on the fourth or the fifth or anything like that. And I went through certain characteristics like night and day, and I was led to the people. I was led to the people within a very short amount of time, only 3 months after I lived those characteristics, to assure me that I had had a walk-in and that I was an angel in human form. The things that happened to me were, as I found out, during my journey, were endemic to a lot of walk-ins. I mean, I embraced the name Claire. If somebody had asked the former soul, 47 years, why didn't she call herself Claire, which was her first name, Claire Candy? She would have said she hated the name. But with all the Claires, the clairvoyancy, the clairsentient, the clairaudience awakening in me, I embraced the name Claire. It suddenly became very important to me to help in the service of humanity and help people, not to teach them anything that I know. I knew that they had all the spiritual wisdom that they could possibly have, just to reawaken their divine eternal natures within. That's the mission of my business, which is Angel Healing House, which I created only 4 months after I walked in. So I got my 2 disciplines in Reiki very quickly. And then people started magically finding me, just like a magnet, being attracted to the light and to help them to reconnect with their divine eternal natures. As another thing is, the body started to youthen, which is endemic to many walk-ins because of the light that we hold. In his book, I think it's David Hawkins, I don't know what the first name is, Power versus Force. He shows that the vibrational frequency that you hold, whether that's shame, blame, guilt, anger, sadness, you go up the chart, and walk-ins who are on their game, meaning with every single second, we exude this divine eternal nature of ours. They hold the vibrational frequency for 1 million and up on the planet. So we're placed at different places in the world. I was on the Sunshine Coast at that time in Queensland, Australia. Anyway, the body started to youthen. At 47 and a half, the liver spots that were on the hands, the deep pools under the eyes, the wrinkles, they all started to disappear. And I just turned 66, and I'm like Benjamin Button in that movie. I'm going to be in diapers soon. It just the light just keeps on exuding out. So, the things that have happened to me are just changing people's perspectives on what is possible. One of the greatest things that helped put me on this course was after I was led to the people who said to me, you have had an angel walk-in experience. My angelic family, the posse of angels, at that point showed up for me. And this is my family. We are 537 strong. And that number is very important because 5 is the number of changing and challenging people's perspectives of what is possible. Number 3 is the number of magic. Wherever 2 or more are gathered in that name, miracles happen. And number 7 is doing the work of the divine. And there have been angels which have moved out of the posse, but another angel must come in to hold that vibrational frequency of the 537 throughout the last 20 years.
So are you the full embodiment? Do you have other aspects of yourself that are currently on the planet
No.
You're the one and only.
I am the one and only. And this has helped me to almost immediately get on my mission and not waver from it. I don't get pulled in any other direction. I will to will God's will. In my first book, which is actually the prequel to I Am an Angelic Walk-In, this one is about my walk-in experience. I am an angelic walk-in. But the one true home behind the veil of forgetfulness, I speak about my life as Ariel. I wasn't always an angel, but those 5 most important past lives, I understood my divine eternal nature. And it was at that point that I gave up my free will. And in many respects, I doubly gave up my free will, because 9 months after I walked in, which I asked for when I was in front, I remember being in front of the Etheric Council and saying I would go back to be of service to humanity if I could have my twin flame. And so twin flames, we came together, my beloved husband, Pete, and I, 9 months after I walked in. We met on a Saturday, and 5 days later, he asked to marry me. And then we married 2 months to the day. And twin flames, because they're in a triad of God being at the top, we give up our free will. We go wherever our mission is. So it's a double giving up of the free will, and we know this. But I am the full embodiment of Angel Ariel.
Okay, so I know a lot of times when a walk-in comes into a body, like I also am a soul exchange walk-in, I
Right.
had some karma from the old soul that I had agreed that I would go ahead and take care of. And then I started clearing the cellular memory and then getting on with my mission.
Right.
Did you do the same? Did you?
Absolutely. I had to clean. Well, one of the things we contract is walk-ins, but not all walk-ins do this, because they do have free will, is to clean up the life of the former soul. I mean, she was surviving on 2 packs of cigarettes a day and 12 things of very strong espresso coffees or whatever, very little else, being anorexic. And so cleaning up her life, because everything around her, I tell the harrowing story of when I woke up, I found myself in a termite and cockroach infested home that her boyfriend said would be a good investment to buy this with her money, 1 block from the ocean. And because she was flying her plane in the fog and so dark and traumatized and in despair, she was looking for a savior to help her. And so when I woke up, I looked around, and everything that she had drawn to herself was of such darkness. So it didn't take me long, as a matter of fact, to clean up her life physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and break away from those relationships and her career and all of that stuff, in order to get on my path, get on my mission to help others. But yes, we need to take the responsibilities. Now, a lot of people ask me, why do you call yourself Claire Candy? Why don't you just call yourself Angel Ariel? And I said, because out of respect for the former soul, this would have killed her parents. It just would have. They adore that the former soul's father has passed in 2016. Here he comes. He says he's very much alive now, but he's like giving me a hug.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful. But that this would have hurt them so deeply, and out of respect. I mean, she gave up her physical form for me to come in to be of service to humanity. And a lot of people have asked, well, what does her family, think about this? And I said, love is just love.
Yeah.
I said, that's it. I love them. They love me. Whether they've read my books, whether they watch my YouTubes, whether they even know what an angel walk-in is. The bottom line is we love each other so immensely, and love conquers all.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So with all of the changes that are happening on the planet right now, some say chaos. I look at it as kind of a springboard for change. With everything that's happening right now on the planet, can you give us any insight into what you see for planet Earth
Oh
and
my
for
gosh.
humanity right now?
The posse of angels and I are doing a jubilation dance. It's such a celebration. There, if you go back over the last 18 months, 2 years I have never spoken about, these chaotic times. I've spoken about how if we're seeing all of this, finally, things are not getting worse. They're getting revealed. It was always like this. And finally, the light is so immense on the planet that it's going into all of those dark cracks.
Yes.
And it's revealing everything that is not of the light. As we go into, and of course, we just had the 12-12, the 21 is coming up, December, the solstice is coming up. We've been in a 40-day trial period. For that 40 days is very important, that trial and tribulation period. And we're coming forth to a time where this Saturn-Uranus freedom, this liberation and this freedom is going to take us into 2022, when we're going to slowly start to see justice coming forth on this planet. It's not going to be the same old game. Going into April, May, the posse of angels is reminding me more like, I guess, summertime, very tangible things, the world opening up, things being revealed to such a state that all of this supposed chaos that we've been seeing, I call it the last dark crumbs that are being swept away before the cities of light. I know you see them as well, Sheila. The cities of light, which were so far above energetically, are slowly coming down, and they're hovering right above this physical world of ours to anchor itself in with these new structures of light and these new systems. And we're not here by happen chance. If there were so many auditions by billions of souls to be here at this time, if you are here at this time, it means you passed that audition to bring forth your talents, your skills, and your abilities to add to this. And this is what's going to happen in 2022. We're each going to be presented with our dharmic path, our soul's highest purpose to step on, and it's going to increase the light, and it's going to increase this beautiful planet of ours after 26,000 years, under this dark matrix. And suddenly she's coming to life again. And each of us is a drop in that ocean and going to be a contributor to it. So open your hearts to the jubilation and the celebration that is happening at this time on Mother Earth. And we get to be a part of this.
Yeah, I have my healing business at Spirit Way Wellness in Eagleville, Colorado. And I have a lot of people who come in that are, they're just broken. They're in despair with everything that's going on. And when I first started seeing this and that increase, there was something inside me that started bubbling up. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is why we're all here, And so as I share that with people, they kind of rekindle their hope, and they're able to start moving again in a forward direction. But it is amazing to me how many people in this time are not being able to recognize that everything, not just in the planet, but within ourselves, is also coming up for healing. All those dark thoughts, all of those, all of the shadow aspects of us are now coming up, so the light can be shown on them and we can embrace those. And so that's kind of what I tell people. And if there's people out there listening now that are starting to feel that despair, kind of take hope in that and really look at it and see what is at the essence of that, because that means these beautiful things are actually coming up for healing so that you can move into a higher vibration. And I'm finding that across the planet. with
Yes.
everybody that I talked to. One of the things I think that also happened during the last couple of years is more and more people have started turning to the internet. They've started making connections with like mind, whereas before, they just kind of were looking around them to see what was available. But the lockdowns that have occurred in a lot of ways have spurred this beautiful spiritual growth that has happened in a lot of people. And I was just wondering if you're seeing that as well.
Oh, a tremendous amount as well, sort of back in those early days where I walked in. I mean, the internet was in its infancy, Facebook didn't come on until 2009. And so a lot of this, we had to bump around in sort of very dark corridors until all this information was dumped on the internet. But I wanted to say, one of the things that I'm finding in my Angel Healing House wellness or healing center or business is that one of the things which is most come to the fore is the first tenet that Angel Healing House is built on. It's built on 5 important tenets. The first thing is people are finally taking responsibility and accountability for their own lives. They're turning the mirror back on themselves, and they're starting to see that we acquiesce to all that and contributed to all that's happening on the planet because we gave our power away. And by taking our power back, we understand that we created this, but we can not only uncreate it, but we can create something very different. And so once we accept this accountability for any dis-ease, whether that's physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual, and having it appear in our external world, then we can create something different. Going on with those tenets, the second tenet, most important and in Angel Healing House, is the forgiveness. And that comes in pretty easy when we accept full responsibility because we're no longer triggered. But it's not, I forgive you, which still apportions blame. It's please forgive me, even if you can't figure it out. It's reflected in that Ho'oponopono prayer, where we accept the responsibility. Number 3 is non-judgment, because everybody who is a spirit in human form is allowed to walk their journey. And we might look at somebody's health choices, we might look at somebody's, belief systems and say, well, that's wrong. But they certainly wouldn't want somebody to turn around and denigrate our beliefs and our health choices or whatever. So we allow somebody to walk their journey as they see fit. And the posse of angels and I know that, we have a limited view in these human bodies, and we can't see as far down the track as the angels can. And something that looks like a disaster or something that should not have happened was so important for the soul's growth. And so I always say everything that happens for you is like a gift, a present given to you, to help you on your journey, to challenge you, to help you to grow. The 4th, of course, is gratitude and appreciation, because that is 2 of the highest forms of healing, being grateful for all our blessings and the things we have. And the 5th is unconditional love. When we take those 5 tenets and we live our lives from that, then there's no blame, there's no being a victim, there's no fault finding, and we become sovereign, powerful, multidimensional beings in our own right, creating our own realities.
Right. Yeah, because on the other side, there is no shame, blame, or guilt. It's all about the experience and all about how we are able to move through that. And so if people can remember that all of these, if we want to call them negative feelings that we're housing within us, are basically constructs of the human mind and not our divine mind, then
Exactly.
I think that people can move through that. So these are great. So let me just recap these: responsibility, forgiveness, non-judgment, gratitude, and unconditional love.
That's it. Those are the pillars. And if you really a lot of people say, well, I've taken responsibility for my life, but I can't forgive another person. Then I say, then you haven't taken responsibility, because in this book, I speak about soul contracts.
Yes.
Every person that you've written into your contract, and we all do this, you've written in to teach you a lesson,
Yes.
to show you contrast. And, and our best lessons come in hardship and adversity. In my healing sessions, a lot of times what is stopping us from taking responsibility is those things that are stuck in our cellular memory that we bring in from lifetime to lifetime. I call it Reiki, but it's actually 12th dimensional pyramidal healing, because the person gets taken out of their body basically during a session with me. They get taken up to the healing temple in the 12th dimension, and around the perimeter, it looks like a sports stadium with the seats almost parallel going up, is surrounded by angels and holding this white light in this pyramid form in the 12th dimension. And it just transforms and transmutes everything that is not of the light and is not of that unconditional love and forgiveness. It transforms it, and I see the people soften in front of me, whether that's online or in my beautiful office here in Santa Monica, California. And it's amazing. What it's doing is it's bringing light back into them, and it's opening up their hearts to their divine eternal natures.
Beautiful, beautiful. And gratitude too. I always tell people, they say, well, I don't really have anything to be grateful for. It's like, well, you're alive.
You eyes.
Can see. Yes, you can smile. You have fingers. You have legs. You have arms. Start there with the basics. But I'm just wondering, are there different levels of vibratory frequency associated with gratitude?
Yes, yes, there are. Some people, it's interesting. Some people could say that they're grateful for something, and there could be a secondary gain why they're saying they're grateful for something. So if it's coming from here, gratitude coming from here, it's limited. I'll say I'm grateful for you because I want you to do something for me. When the gift is in the giving, we are grateful because Creator, God, Source, which is our abundance does not come from money. It comes from the Creator. Everything comes from the Creator. So that is here. That is here in our hearts. And so that's where the level is a little bit different. If we're only saying, oh, thank you for something because we want something in return, and get a secondary gain from it, that's a little bit different from being in our hearts.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned a few minutes ago about the 12th dimensional pyramidal healing, and that reminded me, I have talked with some walk-ins that say they come from higher dimensions, or they were working in a higher dimension. And a lot of people have different ideas about what a dimension is, or, is it just a frequency level? And I was just wondering, could you bring a little clarity from your perspective what a dimension is, and if there are limited layers found within dimensions?
Right. Well, the angels, I'll just tell you from the angels' perspective, the angels work up to the 12th dimension, because any further and they would be too far away from actually impacting the earth plane. They would just be, so out there that they couldn't, their frequencies or whatever could not impact the earth plane. But of the frequency, those people saying that they work with the higher dimensions, it depends on their energies, because when we cross over, we can only rise to a matching vibrational frequency that's within us. A lot of people speak about hell. Hell is just I often say hell is what we create here on earth, but it's the dark planes of heaven. If you are filled with hatred and racism and judgment and all these nasty, sort of lower dimensional frequency, dark energies, you will always only raise yourself to the dark planes of heaven. the way to get out of there is to come back and live another incarnation. And so you can transmute and really see what you've done and those kind of things. But you rise to the different levels that you encompass inside. And that's the dimensions that we experience when we come back into spirit form.
Wonderful. Thank you. And, I've gotten so caught up. Our conversation is just sort of, this wave of energy that we're riding, but I need to bring it back real quick to the conference.
Okay, to the conference.
Can you give us a little insight about the presentation that you're going to make without giving us everything, but, just a little bit?
All right. Well, I'm going to go into more depth into my journey. It's the things, the magic. That's the only thing, the miraculous way that I was presented and who I was presented with. And as I said, most walk-ins, or not most, but many do bump around. I mean, this was 20 years ago. Many do, and Sheila, a lot of people don't know that a lot of walk-ins don't make it, because it's such a discrepancy between this land of love, or this realm of love where they come to, and to come into a planet where love so often doesn't exist. They just wither. They wither and they just don't make it. But the way that I was bolstered by not only my angelic family, but those on the earth plane that came in to help me, particularly in those 9 months before I met my twin flame husband, Pete. I'll tell you the magical story of that, and the different things that walk-ins can really, once they embrace being a walk-in, once they embrace, and own this, you don't have to put your face on a cover of a book like I did, which takes a tremendous amount of courage. But I often say, I'm not doing this for anybody to get me. I'm doing this because I am authentic and I am honest and I'm open and transparent. I have been for 20 years. And this gives rise for a lot of other walk-ins, by sharing my story. It helps others, to say, well, if you did this, then I can do this as well. And I can come out of the spiritual closet and really own this. And there are many different things that I'm going to be speaking about, how walk-ins can bolster themselves, how they can step into their roles. And it's so much easier nowadays because the internet has groups like yours and mine, and there's so much information out there. It's not like 20 years ago. So I'll be speaking about those things as well.
Right. I know, when we incarnate and we're bringing all of that past information in, good and bad, all of those things that make us who we are, and we begin to imprint on the cellular structure of the person. I know for me as a walk-in, that was, a very conscious thing that I had to do, was to clear that. But everybody's soul imprints on their body.
Yes.
So I'm just wondering, do you have any techniques that you could share with people right now that they could begin to work on to kind of clear some of that cellular imprinting? Because it's my belief that as we clear this imprinting, we begin to bring in more light codes, which then in turn activate us to our higher divine purposes, our other life memories, etc. So I'm just wondering if you have maybe any secrets or techniques that you can share with people right now.
Absolutely. During my past life clearings, the Posse of Angels and I help people to walk the timeline back so they can see those lives in which they took those vows, those oaths, those bonds, those contracts, and very, very dark times then, when people would come to your family and say, you must join this cult, otherwise we'll burn your family, we'll steal all your possessions or whatever. And you signed contracts and you signed oaths. They are still in play. And so we go over that and we negate those things, and they're still held in our cellular memories. So that helps people tremendously. Anything that takes anybody out of the glory, the blessing of being here in the present moment on the planet, one thing that will stop you in your tracks from being 100% of the light is you looking for your searching and bemoaning the fact that you don't have your twin flame with you. When most people on the planet, their twin flame is not here because they could help you better from the other side, because it's energetically has not been supported on the planet. I help, a lot of times, people come to me for twin flame energetic reconnection to connect with their twin flame across the veil. And this way they can stop searching for them, because their twin flame can actually help them find a beloved soulmate, beautiful soulmate relationship on the planet. They can help them with their projects. And that, just an aside, a client came to me several weeks ago, and she was absolutely in utter despair. She said, I don't know if I can go on. I feel my twin flame, but I want to bring that twin flame in anyway. We walk the timeline back in time. And before that, she said to me, I keep seeing 369, 369. I don't know what it means. We walked the timeline back and we stopped in the early 1900s. And suddenly, who came forth? Just getting shivers all over. Who came forth was Nikola Tesla. And she had been romantically involved with Nikola Tesla at that time. And Nikola Tesla's quote, if we only knew the importance of 369, we would have the secrets of the universe. She wrote me such a beautiful testimonial afterwards. And she said, he's with me every single second now. He helps me in my projects. He helps me make better health choices. And he's helping me bring a beautiful soulmate relationship, romantic soulmate, to myself. So this brings her to the present moment. Her energies are not dissipated. So what is going to help you the most is if you negate those vows, whether you can do it on your own and take yourself back, because everyone's psychic, everyone's telepathic, everyone, can do this. But whether, you would go to somebody else to negate those vows, those oaths, those bonds, to clear the cellular memory back to unconditional love and complete forgiveness. Of course, taking responsibility that we signed on those dotted lines for those dark arts and all of those things, and to stop looking for your twin flame and to realize that they are, maybe even if they're not on the earth plane, they are energetically a part of you, and to connect with them in that way.
I have a couple other questions for you. When we're talking about soul contracts, a lot of times people are like, can I just change my soul contract? And I know what my answer is, but I'd like to hear from you. When people are looking to change a commitment, if they're aware of something that they brought in, can you speak to the fact of how that can occur for them?
Well, our soul contracts are outlines. We have our free will, and there's a lot of wiggle room in there. There's a lot of wiggle room. You're smiling. They're not like a chisel and a hammered into granite. Because we change. It does soften what happens as a result of that, and our perception changes as well. We go from seeing it as a horrific something to actually being of the greatest value to us. So there is a lot of, as I said, a lot of wiggle room in there. And while the outline of that contract cannot be changed, it does morph as our energies morph. And I believe that you're nodding your head, meaning that it can change. It can change to a certain degree. The outline, the form of that stays the same, but within that, there's a lot of movement.
Right, right. And the other thing that, a lot of people talk about that I think there's some confusion around, whereas like you're talking about with the twin flames, you end up with this pyramidal. A lot of
Right.
people talk about their soulmates. And of course, the soulmates can come from within that soul group. But when you're talking with people about that, can you just share a little bit about what you would tell them?
Well, yes, their twin flames and soulmates are very different. Soulmates come back to complete unfinished business. Soulmates come back to birth children. A lot of the relationships are just about the birthing of the children, and then they separate. But in most of the twin flames, it's somebody from your soul group that plays a different role in order to help you with your lessons. And a lot of those lessons come in pushing your buttons and irritation and agitation and drama in order to reflect something inside of you, which you still have not completed as yet. And if you don't, once you break up and say, I'll show you, I'll find somebody else, and you don't, turn the mirror back on yourself and work on yourself, then you'll just draw something 10 times worse to yourself in many cases if you haven't done that. Also, soulmates still need to resolve their karma. Twin flames come together only when they have resolved their karma outside of the relationship. And when you held your hands up like this, twin flames are like two independent pillars holding up the same temple, but they don't, like soulmates, they don't lean on each other. They're not codependent. They don't get their identity from the other person. Twin flames are those strong, independent pillars in and of themselves because they allow the winds of heaven to dance between the both of them. There's nothing codependent about them. They allow the other person to be themselves. There's no game playing. A lot of times in soulmate relationships, there's game playing. There's, I'll do this if you do that, but that never happens.
Right.
How do you know if your soulmate or your twin flame is on the planet or not? Do you have a way of knowing that?
Not really. I can, when somebody comes to me for a twin flame energetic reconnection, I'm able then to, with my posse of angels, look across the veil and to see them. That was very blatantly, sort of obvious in the Nikola Tesla thing with her 369. But twin flames have been a lot of people speaking about them that have no idea because they don't have that their own personal experience of it. The thing is that whether that twin flame is here or not, shouldn't negate the fact that that you can have a beautiful love on this planet, regardless of that.
So you do personal readings online, in person, and
absolutely. I do all of that, and I teach Reiki. I call it Reiki, although years back I said to the posse of angels, I said, hey guys, I said, this is not Reiki. And they said, well, in actual fact, it's 12th dimensional and angel healing. And they went on to explain to me, and they said, but call it Reiki because Reiki is now accepted. And back in 2003, when I started, it was like, 3 places on the Sunshine Coast of the Gold Coast were doing Reiki. Now it's part of the lexicon as walk-ins and star seeds are becoming part of the lexicon. So it's getting ingrained in, conversation and, oh yeah, my Reiki practitioner and this and that. So they said, call it that because it's accepted now and people will feel comfortable coming to you. So I love teaching Reiki, and I love that my students are clear conduits, basically, for this extraordinary high dimensional energy to work through them. And I teach either in my beautiful office here in Santa Monica, California, or online.
Beautiful. I was just wondering if you could leave the audience with one thought or one task, what would that be?
Okay, well, the thought that I would leave you with is you are more magnificent, you are more powerful, and you are more beautiful, cherished, and adored than you can ever possibly imagine. Anything that you think about yourself is untoward your divine eternal nature is an illusion. It's a perception. And boy, have we been programmed under this matrix to not think of ourselves as divine and divert our attention. If you can take one part of any day, best to go out in nature. I know it's very frigid and cold in a lot of parts here in the northern part of the world, but if you could go out just in nature, put your hand on your heart and say, I am that I am. I am a child of God, source creator. I am worthy and I am deserving because I am a child of God. I am enough. And feel that melt like butter into your heart. Close your eyes and take it out. Take it out to your aura, to your city, to your state, to your country, to the continents, to the far corners of all galaxies and dimensions, and feel that just melt into there. That's how grand you really are. And everything else is just an illusion.
That is so beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait for your presentation.
What will you be talking? Can you give us a little key to what you're going to be talking about in the Walking Conference, January 8th and 9th?
Well, the thing is, Alan, throughout history, we've learned best as we sat around all those caves and in the, we're hunkering from the mammoths or whatever we were doing. We've learned through stories and fables and legends and somebody else's experience of what they've gone through. For part of it, I'm going to be speaking about the miraculous things that happened to me after I walked in and the people who I was led to. And then after that, the ways in which the posse of angels and I have affected people's lives. Oh, I forgot to say, many people, and I don't use the word on my website, but many people have been coming to me for exorcisms because there's so many dark entities and energies on them. And nothing can exist in the light of the God source creator. And so whether they're here in my office or whether they're halfway across the world, it just dissipates. The dark cannot exist in the light. So I'll be speaking about the ways that I do this as well, and helping people to take away everything that is stopping them from connecting to their divine eternal natures.
Beautiful. Wow. What's your website so people can find you and
my website? Yep, absolutely. My website is the 3 W's, angelhealinghouse.com. And I've been doing this full time for the better part of the last almost 20 years, since January 11th, 2003. And I'm not backward in coming forward. I love what I do. I love who I am. And I help others to also divinely connect with who they are.
What did your original family or the original family of the body think about all this?
They know that something extraordinary has happened to their sister, to their daughter. The former soul was married to an abusive man for 26 years. And when she divorced him, they might have thought that she finally grew a set, excuse the expression, and got some empowerment. They only know that, now that I'm an author, my book's number one in the UK, USA, Germany, Australia, and Canada. They only know that they love me and I love them, and they're very proud of me. They're very proud of their sister, their daughter, who is helping others. my mother listens to, or the former soul's mother listens to her radio, to my radio program. I have a program every Thursday and have done for 10 years, Angel Healing House, Blog Talk Radio. And people call in for free angel advice, and I give channeled messages. And it just, all we know is love. And when you boil it down to just love, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter your health choices. It doesn't matter your beliefs. Then out of that love comes the respect. And we are all possible, from doing that. I had a wonderful email the other day. A woman was listening to one of my YouTubes. She was happy that I was doing more content on my YouTube channel as she listened to my radio show, but she said, I like to see you as well. Anyway, her blind grandmother was sitting on the couch as she was listening, as this woman was listening to the YouTube. And suddenly the grandmother says, blind grandmother, turn this up. And she was listening and she said, oh my God, I can see the angels. And her blind grandmother says this, she said, and the woman said, what do you see? She says, they're tall shards of light. And she says, and they're telling me that they love me. So she wrote me this, and she said, now you have another devoted fan. My blind grandmother wants to listen more, and she subscribes to YouTube so that she can see the angels, more often.
Wow, beautiful.
And one of the most difficult, people say, what is most difficult with you being in human form? I am like 8 or 9 foot, and when I'm out of this body, I'm this tall shard of light and being squashed. I'm very grateful that the former soul allowed me to be, put into this 5'3" and 3/4. Don't forget the 3/4 body, but being squashed into this body every single moment of every single day. I am aware of this, and that might sound trivial, but that is the most difficult. I do not have these large breasts, and I do not have these wide hips. I am this tall, skinny shard of light, and that's the hardest part that I have being in this.
Was
body.
that the hardest part to get used to?
Well, I still deal with that, Alan, every single moment of every single day. I am aware of that.
Were you aware what happened when it happened, when you actually walked in? Was there an awareness? No. How long did that?
3 months, which is very, very quick for a walk-in to understand. And I will tell that story of how miraculous it was when and who I was led to.
Right, but because you didn't know what happened, right?
But I knew when I woke up in that cockroach and termite infested home that her boyfriend talked her into buying. I knew that suddenly the words honor and respect had such significance to me in what I ate, in what I perceived. And anything, it hurt, it stung like needles to be around anything that was of darkness or negativity. And so I divorced myself from that relationship, from the home, from the business that we co-owned. And then I just, I started to build on that once I cleaned up that life and cleaned up this body.
Where were you from originally, that body? Where was it?
The body was born in Queens, New York, New York, and then did her teenage years in Charlottesville, Virginia. And then her father, who was a channel at a young age, an alchemist, a metaphysician.
Oh, really?
He started to write poetry at the channel poetry at the tender age of 11. Actually, in my first book, Angels of Faith, which is this one, I have the angel poem, and he wrote this.
But hold the book up again, because I put a close up. Hold that book up again. Yeah.
And that book is based on my 2 near-death experiences. And the fact that we are divine and we do not die. It's Angels of Faith.
Great, great,
And
great.
in the beginning of the book, this is the poem. An angel once drew near to me and said in heavenly voice, I will give you but one wish. Pray, what will be your choice? I said, my godly messenger, I've traveled far and wide. I've had the best of teachers. You see, I'm not untried. And if I must make but one wish, my mind is clear and free. For rather than own all the world, let me but myself be. He wrote that when he was 11 years old.
Wow, that is classical. That's incredible.
He then Spirit told him to have like one of those old-fashioned yellow legal pads by his bed, and he was continually woken up in the night to channel beautiful metaphysical poetry. He was more not of the world than he was of the world. And
did he know what happened to you? Did he understand? Was he around when you had this transformation?
Oh yes.
So he understood that.
Well, he didn't he might not have comprehended the title walk in, but he knew from a very kindred spirit that we were always this connected soul to soul, heart to heart. And he's part of that group of mine, on the periphery. There he is all the time, helping me on my mission to the planet of helping people, connect with their divine eternal natures. But I moved, the former soul moved to Australia when she was 17 years old, and then lived there for the better part of about 25 years. And
now you're in LA, right? You're in LA?
Now I'm in LA. Who knows, people being a walk-in and also being in a twin flame relationship. My husband and I do get moved around. We went from Australia to Carmel to Santa Barbara because we were led there, and to Culver City, and now to Santa Monica the last 6 years. But wherever our mission takes us. And somebody said to us, my gosh, the Spirit has led you to such beautiful places. I said, but we didn't live there because it was beautiful. We lived there because of, the amount of light we needed to hold and bringing forth our messages in that area. So,
are you going to be at the Conscious Life Expo in February in LA?
That's the first I've heard about it. Send me the information.
I will send you some information. Okay, they need speakers there. So
wonderful. Thank you very much. And a little seed drops in.
Thank you, Sheila. Anything else? Do you want to just? This interview is all part of the upcoming walk-in conference, January 8th and 9th, 2022. Sheila's brainchild of creating a cosmology of different souls and presenting them to the public. So Claire will be there and lots of other great people. Do you want to pull that up just to?
Absolutely.
Okay.
There we go. So you can go to wishalliance.org. You can also go to Portal to Ascension. On Portal to Ascension, you can obtain different information about all of our speakers. Let's see, if we go to the register here, let's see. If you click on that, it's going to take you to Portal. Let me just go to Portal. Yeah. There we go. So you can go into Portal to Ascension and you can find out some additional information. So if you go directly there, you're just going to go to the online events. You're going to scroll down to the bottom where it's talking right here. You want to hit the register now. But on this register now page, you can see we have all of the speakers listed. And so here we have Claire. You can view her bio. And again, Claire, do you want to let people know how they can get a hold of, or right here we go. So folks, you can screenshot that, take a photo with your phone. Here are all the various ways that you can get a hold of Claire. You can also reach out then to other speakers if you have questions of them as well. But I'm very excited. We have a very high quality, very power-filled, intense walk-in information that's going to be coming out. A lot of people are going to be offering activations as well as part of their presentation. So this is a not to miss event. If you are already on the Wish Alliance mailing list, absolutely woohoo for you, because we're sending out a special code that will give you 25% off of your admission ticket. And so just run to the Wish Alliance, get our contact information, and get signed up to be part of our Wish Alliance events, as well as to be on our mailing list. And so thanks, Alan. It's always wonderful to work with you and to share time with you. People, you don't want to miss this event. It's going to be phenomenal.
Yes, and I want to thank everyone online on the chat to come. And I wonder, is there a discount I can give people on the chat?
Yeah, all they have to do is go to the Wish Alliance and sign up on our mailing list. Okay. And that code will come out. Let's see, this is Monday. We'll be sending the code out then on Sunday. But yeah, we can talk about this, and that'll help build up our mailing list as well.
Is that wishalliance.org?
Yes, wishalliance.org.
Wish stands for walk-ins, indigo, starseeds, and hybrids.
Yes.
Wishalliance.org. Okay, great. Thank you, Angie and Marlena, everyone, for being part of this talk online. Thank you, Claire.
Thank you so much. It was lovely.
It was, and we'll do it again. We'll see you in just a few weeks then.
Yeah.
Yes, very excited, very excited. Have a beautiful rest of the holiday season, and looking forward to being together again.
Great. Thank you, Sheila. We're going to do this again tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, who we have tomorrow?
I believe we have Bridget Holiday. Hold on just one moment, and I will share that with everyone. Yes, we have Bridget Renee Holiday tomorrow. Then we have Emma Louise Living Soul. We also will be on the 20th. We have Stephanie Lodge, James Fairley on the 21st, and James Addison Ames on the 22nd. Yes. We have Diva, and then we go into the new year that we'll talk about that. So we do have almost everyone that's going to be presenting coming forward, just so people get a little bit more information, because you only have an hour at the conference. And so now people are getting 2 hours of all this juicy goodness.
Right. So this is a good, kind of lead introduction to what we'll be covering. And if you are open to this or have some connections or suspect that maybe something happened like this to you, definitely join us, because this will help clear up a lot of information. Thank you all. Alan Steinfeld for New Realities with Sheila Seppi and Claire Candice Hough. So thank you.